I don't get it. Why does that manage? You can't do anything. Well, this is a pisser. This is what edits the meeting, and that's where I can take off the customization. Once the mouse wakes up again.
It was weird because when you got the camera to come on, you could see it, but as soon as you left that screen, it was gone.
That was a different program. That
Oh.
was Windows managing cameras.
Gotcha.
Now I need to tell this program that there's not an app for YouTube, is there?
No.
No, because it had the picture of the Gmail, right?
Yes. And it recognized that camera.
So it happens to be under settings. And this didn't let me pick it. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't know what's causing the delay there. Are there two of those? Oh, it was a pop out.
Good thing we didn't tell Jerry. Hello.
So, oh, check sitting up there on the,
Yeah, it needs to be mailed. They walked out and left them today.
whose Santa Fe is that out there?
I have no idea.
Maroon?
Bob, do you got something there? Yeah.
Yeah. I had to disable this camera because it kept picking this thing up. So we're live. We're recording.
Oh,
We're
really?
streaming. Yes.
Oh,
This
right.
is a test run tonight.
Okay, good.
So we're not really going live, are we? Or we didn't tell anybody we were.
We didn't tell anybody.
Mary's gonna watch it and let us
Okay.
know if it.
It's supposed to be
I
a,
was waiting for as people come, I put yours right there.
I'll have another one.
Are you serving again? Good, and you? I love a good tie-dye shirt. Those are my favorite.
I got this today.
For sure, me.
No, I'm not kidding you a bit. Mail is something else.
Prices going up on everything.
They
They just hit a surcharge on live animals, $15 a box. So price of chickens have now gone up 50 cents each for a chick.
Good grief.
The only company that can provide crappier and crappier service will get more money.
And give more money.
Kind of say that about the weatherman.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who could be wrong that many times and still have a job.
Are we recording now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Not now, but I mean,
yeah.
This is a test
That's the
run.
plan.
try to sit on my hands.
Try to stay awake for the entire game. Entire meeting, right?
Yeah, no nodding off.
I have a question for you. You may know the
Go for
answer to. So I was just looking at Timmins today and looking at certain houses and stuff like that, and the details on it. And there's a thing there that says land use, and it's got a numeric value in it, not like a zoning, but like a land use 2 or land use 5. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Mhm.
But it's not on the website that I can find.
Really?
Yeah, on the Louisa website.
Normally, if you have a discounted use, like
I
timber.
got you.
You'll have an assessment, and then you'll have a land use number in there, and you're taxed at a different rate on that than you are the total thing. So, I got a farm.
Right.
It'll have a X number over here. It'll have 70,000 of that is
Right.
land use, and your tax is
So they break it out on, so
and so
so make up a number. So you have 100 acres and you're raising cattle on 30 of them. So it's a 30, a separate tax rate than the other 70?
It
Or
is,
does it go
yes.
across the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
unless you're also growing hay on this part of the rest of it,
I
and
got it. I got it.
that's also farm use.
Right.
And then if there's timber on a piece of that, so you have to fill out a form each January,
Right.
and the form says basically how much land are we talking about here, how much active farming, how much is in timber,
And
how
what
much
about
is,
your residents?
and how much is for residents,
Oh, okay.
and so I peel out 15 acres for timber, 5 acres for the house and
Is
around
it
there.
worth it
and
for
then
the
rest
tax
of it-
break or
Oh, yeah.
really?
Did you brush up against something or
Oh, my gosh. Well, yeah, probably my car.
your
is
salt,
working.
the salt on your,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
are?
But yeah, I've got a vacant lot down at the lake,
Right.
and it's got a boathouse on it.
Okay.
And I've got a 70-acre farm with a 4-bedroom house and et cetera, et cetera. I pay the same tax on the farm that I do on the lake lot.
Yeah, that's your reward for living the American dream, baby. Get monetarily penalized.
Yeah. So there is a substantial benefit to that.
I'd have to peek into that then just to see.
Yeah. But you fill out an annual form. I try to save my form, so I say the same thing.
Let it rip out.
Yeah.
Like you used to do for your hair.
Yeah, there you go. Careful now.
Well, he was waiting for me. Waiting for me to say something.
Power came back out there, Lord Hill. Stayed out there, fan till it came back.
Oh,
How many people do we need? Do it this for him.
So I just wanted to make
Four
sure.
is-
that-
we don't- yeah, we have 4, yeah.
The pumps and the pressure tanks were all empty.
Yeah, we do have 4.
So he stayed out there till it came back to about 4:30.
raring to go.
Your body, mine just up after the next day.
Really, what's been done?
I'm trying to get some stuff done.
You should know better, how you ain't done.
Yeah, right.
There's always somebody trying to gum it up again.
Yeah.
That's why I have a team of
Okay.
people to mess things up for me to try to fix myself.
Or if you'd like to.
What?
She said, come in her office and see what it looks like on that end if you'd like to.
Yeah, she wanted you to tell Pam to sneak in here and see what it looks like.
Oh,
but it
tell
looks like-
Pam.
but it
Okay, I
looks
thought
like
she said
this.
tell,
So,
because she said, is this Bob? No, this
Yeah.
is not Bob.
Is this our trial run or we go live?
It looks the same.
yeah, you don't have to go, but
Get your clock right next time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I told him I need to sit at that end.
hey, how are you?
How's it
You
going?
sit down there for the back of your head?
Exactly, yeah. Maybe comments on how I'm going bald.
Little restaurant there in Montpelier.
Oh, really? Montpelier, over by Ashland?
Yeah.
What's the name? Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm a
okay.
big fan of the music group Fish, which is PH.
Yep.
That's not the, is that the restaurant right there in that little strip mall,
Yeah,
on the north
Portofino's
end?
in there.
Portofino's is what I was thinking of. And it's in there?
It's like 3 doors down from that. And he used to be the guy, I don't know if you ever went by the Stanley store out there on 33.
Yeah.
So he was a guy in there making sandwiches.
Uh-huh.
Hey, how's it going? Good seeing you.
I stopped at Portofino's several times, but I've never tried Dave's.
Yeah,
took it.
I had it in the trunk.
Breakfast
You left
is
it in the
good.
car?
I did, so you'd have to fool with it.
Thanks
for being willing to do this again.
They do a crab cake sandwich every Thursday.
We'll see how it goes.
Any crab cake you ever eat.
Really?
No
No,
sir, crab,
No,
there's no breading or filler in it.
Fried or,
Lightly, lightly.
This is in that near Portofino's?
But, you know, it's $24 sandwich,
What's
too.
up,
You know, side.
What's that?
So,
Goochland.
I haven't been since then, so I'm so excited to be there.
You get two for, the second one for only $21.
More you buy.
Another night there.
Buy it to the
Tori. And I
Have you
said,
seen the lobster trucks that go around?
stay away from those, they're bad for your health. Never.
Oh, yeah, man, cousins, whatever it is.
That's his main lobster.
Ex-brother-in-law used to do that.
They've got 400 or 500 trucks around the country right now, I think. Called
Yeah,
Fred
there's a
Lobster.
couple around Charlottesville, I know.
They keep going around different places. They're in Louisa next week, I think. Cooling Pond, that'll be a Cooling Pond. This week. Saturday, I think there was Cooling Pond.
6
But it's expensive. Mary doesn't like lobster, and I spent $80 there.
Did you go Maine or, was it Maine or Massachusetts or Maine or?
Huh?
Did you get the lobster roll sandwich or lobster roll?
I got the Connecticut roll.
Connecticut, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the Maine roll.
Yeah, that's the cold roll.
It's like $42 or something.
But it's tiny. It's not that much. It's like $24. I
That's
think.
crazy.
It's a small sub. But they also have lobster bisque and New England clam chowder and tacos and other things.
Shrimp
rolls are good too.
Cousin's Maine Lobster. They're a traveling food truck.
Okay.
They go all over the place. There's like 3 in Virginia right now, and they have a schedule they post to where they're going to be. And some people
Yeah,
go
they're too expensive.
get it.
It's good though. It's just
I'm getting tired of spending that much money right now.
Bar Harbor, Maine.
Uh-huh. I have
If
to-
it's half as good as that.
Yeah, it's from there and it's not frozen. They're shipping it daily and
Oh, that's
it's
good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Try Dave's bologna burger.
What?
Bologna burger.
It's
A
a
bologna
Thompson's
burger?
beer.
Yes.
I haven't heard that he's not.
They are out there.
I haven't seen any bologna since I was 12.
Oh, it's there.
All right, you guys are making me hungry, so let's get started. So I can go get dinner. All right, so it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
The one change I have, and I have copies for everybody, is a change in the treasurer's report, O&M report in the cash disbursements listing that the truck was in the wrong column. So I did print a copy for everybody. Oops. Y'all would
Okay.
take a copy and pass it around. This is what we'll be
This is an
approving.
update to the treasurer's report and the consent agenda then. So with that, do we have a motion to adopt Mr. Keys?
Sorry.
Second for Mr. Smith, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our motion, our agenda is adopted. No presentations or citizen information tonight.
Let's just mention that we are recording tonight's meeting. We will be streaming next month's meeting, most likely. Streaming on YouTube, there's a Louisa County Water Authority YouTube channel. And we'll have our meetings posted out there and we'll advertise that on the county website and on the Water Authority website.
This is from being criticized for not having live stream.
Yeah. No, I recall. And just make sure everybody's getting their haircuts and dressing properly next month. Anyhow, okay, on to consent agenda. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda for Pam or the board? I'll say with that change to the CapEx for the truck, I mean, we are pretty much right on budget
On budget, the total.
for our O and M. Yeah.
Oh, for the O&M.
Yeah.
Up for the total, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, a little up for the total. And last month was pretty much spot on with that truck add back.
Oh, okay.
I am working on quarterly reports will be in the next agenda pack and my first run through today, we're at about 55% of revenues and 52% of expenses. So trending pretty good.
Budgeting better than we have in years past. That's great. Okay, if there's no questions or comments. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move.
So a motion for Mr. Wilson, second for Mr. Hardy. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda passes. On to old business, and I was unable to attend last month's meeting, but I do understand there was quite a bit of discussion about this, and Pam actually called me a couple days after the meeting with a material change for us to at least revisit tonight. Otherwise, Pam is ready to pursue the board motion to proceed to reclaim the right of ways. But that material change, Mr. Hardy was able to attend the meeting with Pam and the county that I think is worthy of our consideration. So I will just say that and turn it over to you guys if you want to kind of take it and summarize it from there.
I'd be glad to. The county came back the day after the meeting and asked Pam to hold off like 3 days. And after she talked to Anderson, and he, I guess, talked to Chris Kuhn, the deputy county administrator, and their offer was that we'll buy this thing together. They want us to pay the 160 we're going to give to a contractor to do only 20 miles. And then they're going to pay some more, I believe, for the bush hog for it. They will take care of maintaining it. They will take care of servicing it. They will take care of repairing it. They would like us to store it in our maintenance garage. It's available for us all year round, except when when we take it to them for maintenance. They are offering 2 workers from Parks and Rec to work for a month or 2 in late summer and a month or 2 in early spring, late winter, when there's not any lawn mowing and grounds maintenance that they need to do. So they'd like to keep these 2 guys employed. Those 2 guys and several from facilities at the county and 4 or 5 from here attended training to get the training for operating the skid steer. So the deal sounded too good. We'd still spend 160, but we would have full-time use of this. We'd have labor that we would supplement with our guys to show where manholes and other equipment are. And they would be able to help with labor getting some more stuff done. Anderson's also offered their skid steer with whatever it can do with a bush hog while we're using or the jointly owned skid steer with a mulcher on it. So to me, it sounded like we definitely, even though we said at the board, let's go ahead and get that service and pay somebody to do it, it made more sense to spend that same money and have something that would last several years anyway, and give us a lot more opportunity to get more done.
So as I understand it, we'd be giving the $100,000 that had already been given to us by the county back to them, spending the extra $90,000.
60.
Well, 90 with the bush hog.
They would
Right.
pay
I
the
think they're
difference.
paying the bush hog part,
Even better.
I believe.
So sounds even better to me.
Yeah.
So we would,
Yeah, our MOU is talking about just 160 back.
and we would need no additional labor because they would help with that clearing. So, and we're doing the whole thing, not just
Well,
sections.
we would still need some labor, right?
Yes,
Or they'd be providing some labor to us.
Yeah, I
extra
understand.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
But we need some more labor, so yes.
They would provide this twice a year.
In general services said that
We would do any interim mowing.
in general
basically mowing.
services said that they would provide, they said at times when they're slower, they can take their skid steer out there too and
Yeah.
have 2 of them working. 12 people, 5 from general services, 2 from Parks and Rec, and 5 from here were trained. They had the training on that. December 30th, I believe, was the date.
Mhm.
And the county did ask Anderson to get some prices on some different equipment, Bobcat and Caterpillar, I believe. And Anderson really wants the John Deere, or I think that's what he has, because then the implements are interchangeable. If you get something else, they're not going to be interchangeable. So he said, if they need the bush hog for something, they can use it. Parks and Rec said for trails, opening trails, and around ball fields and stuff, they need to use a skid steer from time to time. So in exchange for sharing the equipment, they would provide labor. They have guys, 2 full-time guys that during the winter months when they're not mowing and maintaining grounds, they are available because they're working on equipment and doing some little things, helping general services. So they would be available to help as far as labor goes. And then Mr. Woodward has spoken with the Board of Supervisors in
Correct.
regards to this.
You ready for me to have?
Sure.
Um, I think, well, I know I shared it with Tom after the meeting when the vote took place, that I thought y'all were doing the right thing. And I still think at the time that was the right thing to do. I think since all this has come to light with general services being willing to come in and Parks and Recreation and help, I think this is the better way to go. That $160,000, 20 miles, and it's gone. You know, it's this way. Not only do y'all get a really nice piece of equipment to take care of that 20 miles or whatever it may be, but we also get to use it in the future, and the county also gets to use it. So I think it's a win-win for both sides. My understanding is a little bit different than Bob's. I believe that the county's thought is that it will be stored at general services facility. And then, you know, for the water authority to be able to use it anytime they choose. But I think that's where, since all the maintenance takes place there.
I think that's what we first started talking about when we had that meeting. Anderson has said he'd prefer that we keep it.
Okay, well,
We use it most of the year.
I would say that's fine. That could be something that we don't need to say on here, because I don't
Right.
know that that really makes any difference when
Right.
the people that are going to be involved will take care of all that. And I think that's great. The other part of it is, if you read this draft MOU, this is what we as a board are waiting to hear back from y'all. So hopefully maybe y'all can make that decision tonight, because we'd like to get moving on it as quickly as we could. And then we did not take a vote. We just took and got people's opinion, and everybody on the board was in favor, all 7 people. But we did get 2 comments about getting the Caterpillar price and the Bobcat price. So there's a couple of supervisors that wanted us to get those. So, but I think it, you know, it's like plumbing, you know, nothing really, if you have one brand, nothing from it, another brand usually will fit it. Probably the same thing's true on this equipment too. So, without buying something that it allows you. So anyway, I think it's probably wise. I think Anderson knows better than certainly anybody sitting in the board of supervisors room about the equipment. So, but, Chris Kuhn wrote this MOU up. He's got on here really 2 different, he's got the water authority owning it, or the county owning it. So if y'all could make a decision on that tonight or whenever y'all choose to, and I will take that back to the board and we'll vote on it, and then we'll have to bring it up, you know, to vote. So.
And with more information on that, who owns it is who pays the insurance on it.
Last we spoke about it, I think the county's an owner, right? Is that what you?
That's what
Yeah,
I would recommend highly.
I think that's what they also wanted, in administration at least.
You say we'll keep it in our place. Where would we keep it?
The maintenance garage,
Where's the maintenance garage?
the
At
water
the water
plant,
plant.
At the water plant? We
Yeah.
have a maintenance garage down
we
there.
have a big shop, yeah,
3 bay.
Yeah, there's space for it down
3
there.
bay, yeah.
Okay. Another item, you know, having consistent equipment may have a significant maintenance advantage.
James River, if we get that from James River, they've got a contract now, and they would, when they come out to do maintenance, they would do both of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
there'd
it could be an
some consistency.
advantage there.
Yeah.
And do we have anybody trained on maintenance of the equipment at all? And ours or the county staff? It's just operational training that we had, right?
Just operational training, but I do have a guy that has a skid steer at his house. He owns his own. He's got track hose and skid steers. He knows how to change oil, put hydraulic fluid in, do all that light maintenance on that type of stuff if we have to.
We will have maintenance on it.
Oh, yeah, we know that, yeah. Levi knows a lot about
That's
these
great.
skid steers. He's probably up for more maintenance, but.
So we have someone that we can pay to do the work locally.
Well,
He's an
it would
employee.
probably be,
He's an employee.
Yes.
he's an employee, yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
apologize.
If they get the same kind of equipment, some of the filters and oil and all that stuff could potentially be interchangeable as well.
The-
Would
the other-
minimize the inventory we would have to hold.
The other question I had is, how are we transporting this? I thought we had an issue with the trailer.
We have a trailer and a truck on order currently.
And any update, we talked about that last week too, any update on the timing or ability to move the skid steer before?
We've spoken with Anderson. He has 750 ambulance, but he's indicated that it is not ready to be towing anything. We feel like everything could come together all at the same time. The truck timing, the trailer should be here any day now. And the skid steer is at least 60 to 120 days out.
Was the trailer included in the price on in the?
We've already ordered.
We already.
We've already
paid for that
ordered the truck and the trailer.
Yeah,
And
we
they
did
gave
this
us
anyways.
$200,000 and 100 went for the truck and the trailer. The county gave us that.
Yeah, but
for this.
I missed our actually buying a trailer to go with.
We
the truck.
did. We bought one.
So, okay,
We had to have a trailer regardless.
No-
yeah,
We had to have
November,
one that was big enough to carry.
November, we voted on that.
I
October, November.
okay.
I can't remember when, but
That
yeah.
was a meeting that I missed. I think.
I think so.
So what about, additional staffing? I know that we're gonna have some interim assistance here, but for ongoing, are we gonna need, another half a body or something like that, or another full body? to
I
stay on
honestly-
top of it?
I honestly think we're gonna have to start doing it to see what it is. Anderson and Chris went today. Anderson wanted to see, and Anderson felt very much like this is something we can do. We can start working on this and get this, knocked out. It's not gonna happen overnight, but
Right.
it didn't grow overnight either.
What was the workload associated with the geolocation of all of the valves and things on the line all the way down? That sounded like a significant task.
Well, we have the
Almost have to walk the
software
whole
now
line.
where they can stand on the infrastructure or,
Somebody's got to go out there on that and either drive.
we have to identify it anyhow so it doesn't get torn up.
Through there.
While they're doing this,
Right.
yes, we'd have somebody out there doing it at that point, taking GPS coordinates of each one.
We're not going to locate it until we are out there with the equipment.
Because we need to be out there when they're out there with their equipment.
Because we have to
Somebody
identify the
Who's ever out there
location.
with
Yeah.
a skid steer needs to have somebody else looking for stuff that they're not supposed to run over.
Yeah, even though we have located it already.
Right.
We probably should be doing.
Because
that.
otherwise they'd have to be looking at a screen where they're driving and figure where that location is.
And nobody should be out there by themselves.
Never would be.
operating
We'll
their
never
equipment.
send anybody by themselves.
More than likely, there would be 2 Parks and Rec guys and at least 1 or 2 of our guys. And depending, and somebody's got to go and cut down some trees once in a while. Somebody's got to clear areas around the manholes. So there's some manual work being done at the same time as they do the clearing.
We'll have to make sure that all of the identification stakes are in and visible and, if they need to be replaced, if they've gotten broken off or anything, we've got some of those in inventory that we can, replace them. So,
And do we have the bids back from Cat and,
Anderson was getting those. It was
Wow,
kind of
okay.
funny because he said, well, I just talked to somebody at the water authority about this because we had prices from both of those. But he's
told me
working on that.
today that if county makes a decision on yay or nay on doing this, he said that James River is usually 60 days out. If we say okay and the county says okay,
you can.
then basically 60 days from you, when they order, we can have it. He said it could be sooner than that. But after they purchase, it's 60 days.
60 days.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not bad.
Okay, so if this is the better widget that we determine this is the better widget, and way to go. I guess we would need to have a motion to repeal last month's motion and then a new motion to approve this MOU and proceed as such.
You want those as 2 separate motions?
Probably for the record, to me, it makes more
Okay.
sense.
I'll make a motion
Go ahead.
to repeal.
Repeal the right of way clearing motion from
Yeah, I think I
December.
made it.
Yeah.
And, I commend you guys for working something out together. Sometimes you have to take a drastic decision to push things along.
Right.
It's not a knock at anybody, but to get any group of people moving in the right direction. And this is the most definitely the better direction once a little bit more work was done on it. So
Okay.
I'll move to that too.
So a motion and a second for Mr. Keys on not to proceed with last month's motion or repeal. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. Now to consider the MOU, the $100,000 going back to the county, with the additional.
The MOU doesn't really describe what we've described here as the situation. And it confuses everything with this, if we do this, if we do that.
And I asked him
It
to
would be
take
nice.
most of that out. He had more of that in there
Yeah,
because we had not decided that yet.
and some of it becomes inaccurate, as a result. So,
Right.
I would like to proceed. I think we just need to proceed with the motion on the funding of the thing and then get this MOU straightened out.
And that's what we decided. Chris, I guess, offered that. He can revise that and take the option of us buying it out. But he didn't want to presume that that's what our board necessarily wanted to do. So we wanted to keep both of them there until we made this decision. I make a motion that we proceed with purchasing, having the county purchase the skid steer and mulcher. And we return 100, we give them back 100,000 and we add 68,000
60,
something.
60,
160.
yeah,
160
What is it?
total.
160 according to MOU.
It's actually the prices in your pages, 168, I believe.
I'm on page 13.
Right here.
I
Why don't you make,
understand that.
why
I'm
don't you make it
saying
not to exceed?
168, 5.
Right.
That's the
They-
yellow or the red. That's
They said the 160 and they would make up the
Yep.
difference.
That's-
yellow is the marked up by the county, correct?
Who's gonna make up the difference? County?
The county.
Yellow.
All right. So then we make it, we pay the county, we return the county 100 and give them 60 grand more. They will purchase the skid steer and the mulcher and hopefully the bush hog for it.
Okay.
And then we will have the county redraft or modify the MOU subsequent to that after they approve
The
the
direction.
MOU in that direction that we're going.
Okay,
How's
so
that for a long motion?
motion.
Just
to
say, yeah,
Financially support the 160 back to the county, right?
And they don't have to approve the MOU. We just need to get a new draft on the table.
and then
For
sign
both
it.
theirs
Yeah.
and our,
Yeah. And then sign
approval.
it. Yep.
Okay,
Second.
second for Mr. Filer. Further discussion? Yes.
So this number 3 easement maintenance schedule and responsibility, it reads to me what I don't believe we've all been saying. It reads to me like the county is going to be doing the lion's share of the actual maintenance and we'll just be out there as needed. Is that the correct way to read that statement?
What,
Item number 3, page 8, item 3, maintenance will be conducted biannually.
Primary.
So if you look at the markup, page 11, it further expounds upon it and would be the most recent draft. So I haven't read those 3 paragraphs really quickly and said, hey, but let's see if that takes care of it.
that does sound like that for those periods, yes. They would be primarily responsible during those periods.
That's twice a year. for
That's
Twice a year.
Yeah, we're gonna clean that up because we have to be out there anyhow.
Well, it says with
Well,
assist.
it says you're gonna be out there, yeah, but you can be out there doing water authority stuff like mapping and that type of thing, not actually just sitting there burning hours in a seat.
Right,
Right.
no, or if Anderson has the availability to take both his skid steer and this new skid steer, then we can hit it on different fronts.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate the comment. Okay, so my only comment, or go ahead, Jeff.
I'm sorry. Are we taking a look at this draft as if it might be the final? That's modified?
I don't think we need to. This just has to be done before, once we do the money and they purchase it, the rest of this is how we operate. So
Okay, but number 4, if ownership is transferred, means if ownership is retained, I think. On the revised version.
or in which section?
And,
Oh,
He's on
5.
five,
Page 12.
4 within 5 on page 12.
This is we're up to date, isn't it?
I think so.
The red, I thought the I thought the red watermark was the first pass.
No, he said this was the clean copy from all of the stuff.
All right,
Yeah,
my mistake.
and
So-
so on page 9.5.4 is the responsibility of Louisa County. And,
Yes.
and the county, and Louisa County is not transferring ownership.
No, we're saying if we're
Mhm.
transferring the ownership to the county to buy it. So transfer
We
the ownership,
never get ownership.
correct.
So.
I guess it,
They meant if ownership was retained, it's retained, in the previous section, in the case that we do it.
That's right.
And it should be retained in the case that they do it as well.
Right, we need to
That's
clean
the
that
other
up.
case.
He didn't want to
Yeah.
presume how you all would want this to look.
Okay, so
And
Go ahead.
one other thing, I would like to add, the storage. And anything else that is not in here that we've had as part of the agreement here. I would like to have it a little more complete. Specifically to include who's responsible for storing on this thing.
Okay.
we can, I would rather see that as an operational decision made by those people using it. And Anderson's already said, I just talked to him after your board meeting, I believe. No, I get to it before. He'd much prefer we have it, so we have it all year round.
Yeah, me too. So I'd like to say that we are storing it here.
We could, but what if something comes up where we get some other piece of equipment that needs to be in there and they need to store it for a while? I don't know that that should be in the MOU.
That's a deal.
Yeah,
And
I don't think-
Doug, if we put that language in here, then when it comes before the board, that's what the board's gonna expect. I think it may be best if we just leave it.
You think that's a problem with the deal?
I'm not 100% sure.
less is more in this case.
Yes.
Okay. Duly noted.
And let the internal workings take care of the people that deal with
Okay.
the piece of equipment, take care of that.
and I think you mentioned it, I think, as we talked. We mentioned it, we talked about this after our meeting with the county, is that it's certainly not the first time we've talked well with the county and arranged to do something the right way. But it certainly is the best that we've done so far. So this makes sense to the county, it makes sense to us. Everybody seems to be on board, nobody's pulling any power plays or anything else. It's, everybody
Yeah.
sees this as a win-win. And that's a really good
And
thing.
my only concern is that's the way you start out, and
Right.
then later on, if you leave a landmine in the system, it eventually goes off.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't disagree with that, Doug. And, we said this in the small meeting that we had. The powers that are in charge now and make the decisions work really well together. But it isn't always going to be like this. And one of the questions I had written down when I read over this was, when it comes down, there's no time limit on this MOU. I don't know that it necessarily has to be, but if you put 5 years or 10 years or whatever, then at least it makes both sides revisit it at that point. If somebody happens to see it and see that it's run out or it's getting ready to run out or something.
It has dates, it has a spot for start date and end date on the page 8, number 2 at the top.
Okay.
Let's make sure it's past all of our terms and we'll be okay. How about that?
Yeah. And the other thing, I don't mean to take up time, but in my reading over this, I saw the maintenance and maybe this is something that y'all talked about, Bob, but if the county retains ownership, which is I think what we're all talking about now, then the county does the maintenance and the repairs.
I said that, yeah.
Okay. But I thought what you were saying earlier was we would change the oil in the water.
Well, Chris offered that, and I think that kind of I think what they're talking about is, annual maintenance. where you have
maintenance
James River
contract.
come out
Yeah.
and
Okay.
maintains it.
And my major concern with that is I don't want to see the water authority have to bear the cost
Right,
of major repairs.
Right.
You have to start buying teeth for that piece of equipment and stuff, it gets into some big money. I think that's much easier for the county to take care of than the water authority.
Right.
So,
So we appreciate that.
yeah, well, anyway, I think that does it for me, hopefully.
Okay. All right. So just go ahead. Sorry.
And actually, it does say that they'll bear the cost of fuel, routine maintenance and minor repairs during county operations. Now, I don't know that we're gonna send them a bill for when we put diesel fuel in it. But theoretically, it would go back to the county to do all that.
Yep.
And they do have diesel tanks at their facility that you can fill up. And I guess they've done you guys did a portable truck for diesel,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yep.
Yeah. So that kind of left it that if they do sign this, we can always say, hey, here's your bill.
Right.
But I'm not sure that anybody's gonna worry about that part.
And what about that language that said minor repairs? What page are you on?
It's routine maintenance and repairs.
No, what about like
And
major?
they're not minor.
It
I think
does
major
say,
is covered in there somewhere too. Is there?
Yeah, major equipment repairs, if retaining ownership, bear the
Right.
cost of significant repairs or replacement. That's on the mini skid steer and mulching head.
good catch, though. They were probably trying to sneak it by.
I don't think so.
I don't either. I'm kidding.
Okay, so as constructed, the motion would strike the previous motion approved by the board for the
We
right of way
already
clear.
done
Oh, we already did that, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So it would allow for the financial transfer of $160,000. But as far as execution of the MOU, I mean on that, we need to finalize it, so it'd be a next month item. Is that what we're thinking here? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Let's say it's gotta be done before we start using the skid steer.
That's about.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
but it will be. I mean, the county, they're ready they want to get this
Yeah.
this thing back, and I guess you gotta wait for next board meeting to actually,
Which is Monday night.
oh, it is Monday night? Okay.
yeah, I guess
It's not Monday night because it's a
Oh, Tuesday.
holiday.
Yeah, you're
my question is, without the MOU signed, I guess you guys would still proceed with purchasing the equipment once we transfer the money, or
Well,
once you approve it after transferring. the money?
we have to approve the MOU. I'm hoping we can do that Tuesday night.
So would we have to execute it and approve it too before you guys would order it?
I think that would be good. Tricia may be able to
Yeah,
answer that
I
better.
think, yes, that you
Okay.
would need to do that.
Which we have not covered yet.
Can we?
Let's go ahead and I don't have any other comments. If there's no other comments on the motion on the table right now. And we can maybe take that up after, if that makes sense to everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments on the motion on the table after the first and second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Now, as far as execution of the MOU, so we can get rolling on this, does anybody have any thoughts on how best to proceed?
I don't think there's a big rush on the MOU. The board doesn't have to approve the MOU on Tuesday.
Well, I think
They can
to,
get a draft of it.
I think to get the piece of equipment ordered, Doug, we would need
They
to,
would need to have the MOU.
yes.
So it would be a good idea, like,
But we don't even have a draft of what a final MOU would look
but it
like.
would be a good idea if you all could go through and at least say what you are considering changing, so that it can get done by that time.
And I don't know that 2 weeks is gonna make a whole lot of difference. So
Well, for us, it'd be another month.
that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah.
Can we authorize general manager to approve this? Per the stipulation that nothing significantly has changed in it? What we're reviewing at this
Yeah,
point?
I mean, I don't know why we couldn't. I just think we need to be a little specific in some of
Can we
these
appoint a
clauses.
committee? Where Pam does it, fixes it, puts it up, sends it to Doug,
We can,
whomever else wants to be on the.
so
committee.
approve subject to committee approval?
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with that.
Doug and Bob,
And
maybe.
or the whole board could be the approval committee.
Well, if we do that, then we're out a month, right?
Yeah.
No, we send out a draft and.
I don't think we need, I don't think that's, we're big enough here where y'all's comments would be sufficient in this case to get done pretty quickly and then front of the county.
I'll make a motion that the general manager draws up the final draft based on our recommendations, changes, reviewed by the committee with their approval to move forward to the board before their Tuesday night meeting.
Okay, we have the motion on the table.
Second.
Second for Mr. Smith. Any further discussion?
Okay, we have to, who's on the committee?
I can appoint the committee members, can I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I'll appoint Mr. Hardy and Mr. Smith to be on that committee with Pam as general manager. All right. It's a lot of wrangling there.
Oh, it's being recorded.
But this is our dry run. All right.
If anybody has any comments that they see and hear that they want to have flagged, let us know, please. Let Pam know, let me know.
Yeah, I was taking some notes, but,
I just
certainly
saw
if you have
one
any
that
more.
says that the responsibilities of different parties. One is the equipment usage, it's utilize the equipment outside of the 2 biannual cutting dates by providing its own trained personnel to operate it. That kind of implies that you don't operate it during the during the biannual cutting periods. And I'm not sure that's always the case. We may have them out there, Parks and Rec, and they may get a spell where they're doing the legwork and the cutting trees and bush and stuff. So,
What page is that?
that's number 3 on page 9, top number 3. So I think we need to work that,
That's why Judd said.
Yeah, I have faith in the committee. I think we can move on to new business.
that's fine. That's fine. I just want to make sure nobody else has anything else.
From my understanding, Pam, you're gonna do a cleanup on this thing and then.
I'll get with Chris Kuhn. He's the one who.
Version number 2,
Yeah.
or 3. And then we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll get with Chris Kuhn tomorrow, hopefully, and we can start working on that.
all right.
Okay, moving on to new business, standard operating procedures.
This is just an information. These were the two most recent crises that we had. The bypass valve not being open when we were trying to operate off of the town tanks. I wrote up an SOP. We have given these to all the pertinent staff and put a laminated copy in the altitude valve vault. And then the standard operating procedures. We didn't have any hiccups with the sanitary sewer overflows, but I thought while we're in this mode, I'm going to go ahead and write this up as well. So we have this, and again, it's been passed out to all the pertinent employees, staff, and we have started a binder here in the office where we will continue this process and keep moving forward with that.
Any questions on those? Let's move on to water connections outside Louisa County.
Okay, I have been contacted by about a person wanting to know if they could make a future connection to the water and sewer lines from Ferncliff to Shannon Hill. It's a representative for Mrs. Marion Payne, who I believe is somehow related to the Rossins.
He was a Ross.
She was a Rossin, okay. The property is in Fluvanna County. And no agreement that I'm aware of exists. I did get a copy of an agreement that I included in the packet for Goochland County, but I don't have one for Fluvanna County. And I wanted to ask the board if I should work with the county attorney to draft something up for Fluvanna County, because I'm not really sure I'm not sure I have the authority to tell somebody in another county they can connect to our line. We will have an easement through the county, but I'm not sure I'm the one who should be making that decision. So, with that said, should I work with the county attorney and come up with something for Fluvanna County that similar to what I have for Goochland County?
The Goochland County was only generated because Goochland didn't want us connecting to their line, to our lines.
They wanted restrictions.
They
Yes.
wanted to restrict so that they could restrict development.
Right.
And that was their only concern. They were afraid we were going to hook a bunch of people up. Fluvanna did not have the same concern.
Okay,
And that was negotiated by
So-
the counties, not by the water authority.
Yes.
that's
So,
correct.
I don't,
What was the Fluvanna?
the Goochland agreement.
Goochland.
So I just throw this out there. It sounds like to me, not to pass the buck on to the board of supervisors, but this might be something at a level that the supervisors ought to agree with before anybody goes hooking on to another county's water.
And it becomes a service area issue too.
Yep.
right?
For a single connection too.
Right.
Without an agreement in place. Although we've had draft agreements on water sharing essentially with Louisa, or with Fluvanna.
Then the other thing is, we don't have a rate structure for folks outside Louisa County. That's my other concern.
And that's a huge concern because it came up with James River Water. And the Board of Supervisors has made mention of setting rates for them, and they're not allowed to set rates for them. Only the Water Authority can set rates. And the rates do not have to be the same within and without the county. It becomes another service area, or we're selling water outside our service area. But there's a difference between bulk water sales, or not really, I guess bulk water sales, and an individual customer. So all that stuff needs to come up legally as to how we're going to serve people outside of our county boundary, which is our service area at this point.
Well, don't we already have a consecutive water system?
Not connection. We have wholesale connections for the towns, but we don't have outside,
Retail.
retail or whatever you would call that. It's our line, but it's in their county. So a lot of utilities have
Referring to the
inside
county,
service
referring to
areas
the-
and outside
Well, I'm
service
referring
areas.
to that, but if we let's say somebody wants to hook up in Fluvanna, we let Fluvanna handle that.
Yeah.
And we consider them a consecutive water system as to what we would charge the consecutive water rate to that county and let them pay us. You're talking about individual people wanting to hook on one by one by
Yeah.
one.
I mean, the issue is Zion,
That's why I think
who wants to have water.
I think that's why the board of supervisors probably ought to handle this and not
A
us.
big connection.
Yeah.
This-
How
this
many
was-
citizens in another county do we want to be directly selling water to?
Right.
That really could open Pandora's box.
Is Fluvanna aware of this request of us?
I don't know.
I mean, that to me, is just
That's
maybe
it.
I'm thinking outside the box here, but that seems like a logical place to start because they might want to do something about it. And then it becomes probably an issue they can put in your court should they want to. And then, we can get told what to do and move on from there.
And in Hanover, we service Caroline, and we deal with Caroline. We don't deal with individual customers.
Do
It's
you,
up to dealing county to county. It's not county to
do you have a
customer.
pipe to go to Caroline?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we
No,
don't
that's
have a
single
pipe to go
though,
to
right?
Fluvanna.
I
Or
know there's
do you have
two.
individual, is there individual connections to you?
No, we, at the point where we hand off,
It's handed off. to
that's
them.
what we meter. We do not meter individual. We do not look
And
for
that's what we,
leaks.
that's what we would do in Zion Crossroads, but this is way down there.
Right, and
Uh,
I think my advice to everybody, you deal county to county, otherwise you're gonna be checking for leaks, you're gonna have to potentially go out and read meters, you're gonna have to, whatever.
Or even worse than that, look what just happened in the city of Richmond, who,
Oh, I
by the
can-
way, sells water to Hanover
I lived that little dream.
and Rico.
But
And
that's essentially telling these people no.
Or find another way. than
I think what you need to do, I think you're right, I think this is above the rim stuff for us, I think county to county needs to have conversation and see where we go. I just don't think we wanna get into.
I just draft an email
residential.
to Christian and say, here's what came to us. Our board doesn't feel it's something we should address right now.
Yep.
And if the board comes back and says, yes, you should, we'll do it.
Okay.
But I don't think that'll happen.
And I think individual connections into our line becomes much more complicated than dealing with
It's
Fluvanna.
liability.
It's less liability, but it deals with a lot. Fluvanna's got no skin in the game at that point.
And I
Other
think they
than
should.
their citizens.
We already have Louisa County customers hooked up to this line.
No, it's not even in yet.
Oh, it's not.
No, they want to market the property and they want to be able to say that there are water and sewer, coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can say that.
So this is from 22.
This is from Goochland. This was Goochland's agreement, and I just wanted to find out from the board if they wanted something similar like that for.
But this is right on 250, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes, this is where it crosses in Goochland County. It's the same line. It just, there's a section that it runs through Fluvanna County.
You were just asking if we wanted to do with Fluvanna what we've already done. with
Exactly.
Peninsula.
What we've already
And we
kind of,
didn't actually do it. This
No,
was
it's-
something
County
the board-
did.
Yeah.
County did.
So I'd just say outside of our service district, you need to explore with Fluvanna County and leave it at that personally. I mean, I think that's that simple.
So this would be in the Shannon Hill land?
from the Ferncliff to Shannon Hill. Yeah.
Any other comments on that? Let's move on to fishing permits.
And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Woodward. He had a citizen reach out to him and with questions about fishing permit sales. So I'm going to let him handle that one.
Was it for ice fishing? Would that fall into that?
It could be this time of year. It could be a new thing for the county. I've had a couple of folks in the Louisa district reach out to me and to say, why, and I'll put it nicely, why do I have to go to two different places and get two separate permits to fish in the compounds that their comment was that the county owns? And I said, well, the county only owns one of those compounds, and that's Bowlers Mill. And the Water Authority, which is a separate authority, separate entity, owns the reservoir down in Northeast Creek. So, you know, of course, that didn't satisfy. So, and rightfully so. You know, to me, it just makes sense if people just buy one permit, or personally, if they just have to get one permit, maybe not even have to pay for it, particularly if they're a senior, and could still be available here and at the treasurer's office where Bowlers Mill is available. And, you know, just make it easier for the citizens of the county. And, you know, in the big scheme of things, that's not a real big deal. But to 300 and some people that use Bowlers Mill and who also probably use the reservoir, it is a pretty big deal. You know, and as a lot of you guys don't understand, but as you get older, little things really start to really peeve you. So
I like being on the right end of this.
I've reached out to the county folks, and I think that they kind of, and not all the board members, but I think they kind of agree with me. You know, why can't we work?
It'd be
this
good,
out?
cheap goodwill too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, we can never do too much of that. Goodwill, maybe not cheap, but, you know.
What's our annual fishing permit revenue?
$4,000.
I mean, yeah.
It's more control the number of people down there.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
activity.
there's some
Permitting
things,
process is not about.
right. There's some things that
Right.
are going to need to be worked out. And I mean, it's, the county took in 24, right around $3,000 in fees. So, you know, maybe the first year or first couple of years we tried and still have the fees and make sure everything works well. And then maybe it's something that we can look at, maybe waiving the fees for seniors and maybe eventually waiving it for everybody. And, you know,
Are we willing to just waive the fees? I mean, it's not, it's not.
Right off the get-go?
The money's in the noise. Yeah.
I think the county is. Yeah, I think so.
So what about having the water authority continue to sell tickets or sell permits,
Issue the
For both.
permits.
issue permits for both?
Yes. Well, it would just be one permit that would include both compounds.
But have it available at both locations,
Just
both
like it's been.
offices?
But why are we married to having permits at all?
$7,000 between the two of us.
But between two.
And some of
lakes,
those are the
between
same
two-
people maybe, so we
I
don't
think
know.
it is quite a bit.
And so what's the big deal?
The permits give you an idea, I guess, of knowing who's going out there. And you can check on whether they are following the rules.
There are restrictions, especially at Northeast Creek. They're more onerous at Northeast Creek than Bowlers Mill. And when you get your permit, you sign it that you're going to follow those rules, like no gas motors, no bodily contact, no, it goes on and on and on.
So it's making sure they've read the rules, which we have a sign out there that has all the rules.
We do.
And so we don't enforce either
most
one of
people-
these.
Most people paintball the sign or do something like that. They don't.
But we don't enforce either one of these things, right?
We do. Yes, we do. that the sheriff's department patrols and
So they would still do that.
That wouldn't change, right?
That would be anyway.
Yeah, they would still do that.
And
Why would that change?
the permit itself doesn't help us, control it. I mean, we're
And
not
people
even
that
sharing
live
that
around it will
information with the
call.
sheriffs. Are
Yeah.
we sharing that information with the sheriff's
Yes.
office? Who has permit, and who doesn't have permit?
no, but they can check them. And if they don't have it, then they're trespassing because it's property that's owned by Louisa County.
But if they're obeying the rules, then who really cares at that point, right?
The people that live around the reservoir, if somebody puts a gas motor, a boat on there, they
On
will
their
call
boat.
us. And let us know.
And that's whether they're using the gas motor or not.
Yeah, it's not allowed to be on there because it's petroleum contamination and drinking water. You can't.
And the same's true of Bowles Mill.
I'm not sure if there is as strict at Bowler's Mill. I think there's no gas motors there.
Not supposed to be any
Yeah,
gas.
the county folks seemed to think that there was no gas. They thought that part of it was the same
Yeah.
as the rest.
Does that permit have any language about liability, like you're liable for, or any liability?
I'd have to,
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head.
But yeah,
At-
you're
at your
suggesting
own
it should.
risk.
Well, I'm just, yeah, well, you never know what kind of, yeah, so I
Like
didn't know.
like a
You
whole
think about it.
harmless agreement. type
Right.
thing.
Mhm.
At your own risk.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the permits
Per
are.
person. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What is that fee per person?
I'm sorry.
How much is the fee per person?
It's $10 for an annual permit, $2 a day. We give kids their tickets. There's you can charge 25 cents, but we just give the
So
kids.
it's not a prohibitive cost. It really is a nuisance cost. I'm sorry.
Why don't we do this? We got a budget coming up and we'll set rates during that budget. And we've already got a rate that's been advertised on the books. And we can make it part of our budget discussion to eliminate the $4,000 of revenue that we're getting, which would in turn change the permit. I'm
Yeah, I
not
think it's
making a
good.
motion to do that. I'm saying
It makes sense.
as Pam is putting together the preliminary budget, Pam, go ahead and put in there, taking out the $4,000. Let's see what we can do.
Another thing I want to check on, and when we're discussing this and you said liability, I want to say originally the reason we had the permits is our insurance company said you have to have those. So I'm not sure where with the fee, I'm not sure the fee is required, but I think the permit for liability
Fine.
purposes. So it might say something on there about that.
Or you can even put, if you're gonna do a permit that way, you're not approving anything or disapproving anything. You can put a form on the internet that they can pull up, print out themselves, sign it and execute it, and that they have to have that in their possession in order to be considered permitted.
That's
So
true.
we don't need any manpower to take care of it. The cop comes up and says, "Where's your permit? Here's my permit."
I still think we would need to have it available for people to walk
I
in,
agree.
because
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of people my age that
Well, they can
don't
do
use the
that.
internet so much.
Well, the staff could pull up the same permit. If we put it on our website.
Self-disparaging tonight.
I'm just being honest. Just being honest. This cold weather, this cold weather's rough on guys.
No, you haven't taken your hands out of your pockets
That's
the whole
right.
meeting.
It would be as easy though, if somebody, if I come in here and want a permit, the van just pulls up the website, and says, prints it off and says, here's your permit, signs it, you have to go. Read it.
Okay, so we'll explore. Is it part of our rate structure officially?
I don't think it should be. Rate structures are based on
Yeah.
utility usage, not.
I couldn't swear that it is or isn't at this
Okay,
point.
well, I may be wrong. I just thought it was in the.
I know we've had
But we
conversations
can
about
take care of that in
excluding
terms of
some
the
things.
answer to the county. Are we willing to have
Yeah.
whatever permit is available out there suffice for both locations? And I'd like to make a motion that we are in favor of combining a single permit for both locations to be shared by signing it here, signing it there, whichever.
A second.
Or sign it nowhere.
or signing it nowhere.
A second. I'll look at that.
Well, I think it still should be something that they have read and signed, whether they pay for it or not.
So motion and second for memorializing our acceptance of a single permit for both sites to the county. All right, any further discussion?
I have one question. I would assume there is something saying access on the reservoir is by permit only. Does it say anything down there?
I'll have to, there's a
Yes.
big sign that says all the rules, yeah.
It should. And my thought is, if you don't have a control in place, it will get out of control. And you could have busloads coming in. I really. Go to a state park.
Well,
just telling.
Somebody with the counties even looked up about stocking both of them. I said, well, I'm not sure. I've never fished either one, but I'm not sure it needs stocking. But I mean, that's a possibility that could.
Well, the
wind up
Game and the Fisheries folks stocked Northeast Creek originally, and they do come. I couldn't say how many years in between, but they do come and shock test the fish. And the one time they shocked it, they said your fish are fat and happy. The last time they shocked them, and evidently they shock the fish and they float up and they can measure whatever. The second time they said there's not enough nitrogen, and we said, well, can we discharge from the wastewater? And they said, yeah, no. The health department said, yeah, no, that's drinking water reservoir. That's got a lot of nitrogen in it. So they didn't like my idea, but they weren't as fat and happy as they previously were. So I don't know if they're being overfished or whatever, but they did originally stock it, and they do check on them occasionally. I don't think it's called Game and Inland Fisheries anymore, but whatever. Wildlife Resources.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second proposition to relate to the county. Any further discussion?
So it's gonna be one permit. Is now the permit going to be $20 or
What?
so it's one permit, no fee, or with a $10 fee still?
I would say, I would amend my motion then to say that we would be willing to have a combined permit developed with the county with no fee necessary. If the county wants to say they want to put a fee on it, we'll accept that as well. But we're not going to stipulate that there needs to be a fee paid to the water authority.
Okay, so motion amended, to take it as a second to that amended motion.
Yes.
All right, second again for Mr. Keys.
Okay, so who made the motion? Him, amended?
Yeah, it was both Mr. Hardy and Mr. Keys for.
Because I had
Motion.
Mr. Wilson as the second of the
I thought so
original.
too.
I was, but it
Oh, I'm
didn't.
sorry. I thought it was,
He amended.
okay. Well, there you go.
You want it?
Sorry.
Okay. my
All right.
fingers really hurt.
Okay,
Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that motion passes.
And
unanimously.
one of the real positive things around Goodwill is advertising your Goodwill. Did we do anything about that? Did we announce this?
I would say we'll put it in that
Okay,
local, whatever the county.
Yeah,
The informed citizen.
Cover the county
That's right.
concealed carry licenses, they put that in the CV,
Yeah.
so.
I think something like that would be in order.
Obviously, you're a better informed citizen than I.
Yeah.
So, thank y'all.
Yeah, no, thank you. Actually, great idea. We probably never thought of because it's such a small line item for us.
I think county too.
Yep. All right, moving on, reports, no reports other than general manager's reports, I think, right, Payne?
yep, I just have a few things to update tonight. James River Water Project, the January update. Pipe continues to be received for the project. As Cultural Resources clear parcels, pipe is being installed. The pump station is on schedule to begin this first quarter of 25, and they are working with the CSX Railroad for crossings, making that coordination. I do have an update for everybody on the pipe installation and a map that I will let you all take a look at, because I know you all are very interested in this. And the only other thing I would say is on the James River project, I was in a legislative call yesterday, and there's a piece of legislation, Senate Bill 923. And that is saying that after July 1, 2025, if you don't have an existing surface water withdrawal, you are going to have to reapply. So I immediately picked up the phone and called Christian, or sent an email to Christian and Eric Dahl at Fluvanna, because the James River pipeline will not be completed in July of 25. So I said, we need to either get this stricken, or we need to get the language changed. So we are working with Virginia Water and Waste Authorities on this, VAMWA on this, as well as VACO. And both county administrators are now involved. So we're going to try to, if nothing else, get that one sentence that says, if it's not an existing withdrawal, not permitted, or that's what I said, if we would just add permitted to this, existing permitted withdrawal, we would be okay. But the way it reads right now, James River Water Project would not be okay. based on interpretation of the regulation. So working on that, to keep that moving forward. At the end of December 24, the static well levels were up about 7.5 feet from the end of November. From December 23 to December 24, the static well levels are up on average 1.75 feet. I realized what you were talking about and used your numbers. I realized how
Thank you.
confusing that would be. The U.S. drought map indicates abnormally dry conditions for all of the county of Louisa with severe drought across the neighboring counties to the north and east. Department of Environmental Quality drought monitors indicating watch conditions for groundwater and emergency conditions for precipitation. Stream flows and reservoir levels are normal. The current past due listing is down to $7,448.62 from the past due listing provided in my report of $45,875.29. Thank goodness. Evidently, everybody went away for Christmas and didn't pay their bills. So much better now.
What was that number again?
It's $7,448.62.
And therefore, we know that the highest total due also settled most of theirs,
Yes.
or all of theirs.
Yeah.
If it was over 7,000.
And then I wanted to share two more items. The first one is on Sunday, I got a call from Chris Compton and he said, Pam, can you call the sheriff's department? There's somebody down at the Northeast Creek Reservoir ripping and tearing. So I got the phone with him. I called the sheriff's department. They went down there. They didn't catch the guy. We have a picture. It's not it's an unusual kind of vehicle. It's a Explorer or Expedition, and it has a white front and a darker gray or black back end of the vehicle. So we've been on the lookout for it, but they down there doing donuts and carrying on.
No damage.
Yeah, to the grounds. Yeah, not to the dam or anything
No,
like that, but the grounds. It's just, I guess they didn't have anything else to do, so they came down there and tore that up.
The ground's pretty rough down there anyway.
It works now.
Which will
Like
get,
they were just playing, doing donuts.
which will get fixed when we get our skid steer and
That's right.
There you
bucket,
go. There you go.
scraper.
So that was at the reservoir?
The
Yeah.
reservoir.
Okay. We got a permit for that then.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got an idea where it's at. Somebody saw the vehicle. So
Oh,
we know
nice.
where
We're
it's
still working on it. So, but the sheriff's department was involved and they did go down there and take a look, but they didn't catch the people.
Need more cameras?
We're gonna
This
put
is
out
the-
one down there.
We keep moving them around trying to catch things,
And
and
those ring cameras aren't, shoot, they don't cost much at all.
we have game
We've
cameras.
got the game cameras.
This is at the reservoir. There's no power or anything over there. It's just
No,
woods.
that wouldn't reach them.
No, it wouldn't catch it from the,
Okay.
It's a reoccurring issue.
It happens occasionally, but not very often. But I think the snow and the lure of that was.
and you're off-road at that point. Nobody can see you from 33.
And then I wanted to share with you all, and I will let Mr. Wilson, if he wants to commiserate here. I had a colleague in the business, the director of Halifax County Service Authority, put together a timeline of events for the whole Richmond water thing.
It was a lot of fun.
I'm sure that it affected Hanover County, Henrico, of course, City of Richmond, and my understanding it affected Goochland as well.
Gibson had a boil notice. Chesterfield got hit too.
Chesterfield too. Okay, so it was a very regional thing. And I had a timeline, and I was just going to share this with you all if you wanted to take a copy and maybe read that. It's kind of interesting stuff. Initial reports and this, of course, you can say anything you want on the internet and things. A switch gear went out at the City of Richmond's water plant. So the generator couldn't transfer power to the facility, and staff didn't know which valves to open because it's very automated, and which led to flooding in the basement, which took out electrical controls. It was just a one compounded thing after another. And it was my understanding that they had put off replacing the switch gear several years, maybe as much as 7.
There's a lot of investigating going on.
So we
I don't
don't,
know how they got this pump so bad. Why, we gotta wait months, it seems like, and they got pumps in days. There's pumps out there somewhere that somebody knows about that we should know about too.
I'm not sure that the pumps had to be replaced. It was the controls.
I heard they had to dry them out. They,
Oh, so
RGM went down there, they were down there with hair dryers drying them out, but it was the controls that got flooded. All the PLCs went under, everything. And that's what really took and delayed the recovery time.
That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Pam, in the GM report? Okay,
Yeah, well, once we get James River in, can hand over by water from you.
We're gonna have to take that up with the border
I
supervisor.
understand.
Anything's available for.
We have to make up $4,000 now. Come on.
I'll double it.
anything, on committees?
No,
We have no short notice items. Closed session, I will now entertain a motion to go to closed session for unannounced projects, Virginia Code Section 2.2-371185. This section permits closed meetings for discussion concerning prospective or expanding business or industry when no previous announcement was made. And under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1 for discussion and consideration of personnel matters, including discipline, appointment, assignment, performance, and salaries of specific employees and employees.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Harvey, second for Mr. Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're now in closed session.
Let me, figure out how I'm gonna shut this thing down or pause it. I'm just gonna end it.